Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of the Geek Press Podcast. I'm Noah, and co host Lewis and I today talk about the gameplay of Hogwarts Legacy, give a spoiler free review of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, talk about the Titans having a new comic book series in May, and give a little update on what's currently going on in Twitter. If you enjoy what you're listening to, please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment across all social media platforms and help us reach the number one spot. See you in a second.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, theys and thems. My name is Luis Gutierrez, and I am joined by my rotating guest of celebrity co-host. And today we are joined by Charlie Day. Charlie Day, how are you doing?
What do you mean how I'm doing? Everything's crazy. I'm in Mario with Chris Pratt.
I
Chris Pratt.
I
He tried to
knew.
get me to go to church with him. That's my best Charlie Day
I
impression.
fucking I knew it. I knew it as soon as I said it too. I was like, I know exactly how he's gonna do this.
The thing is, when I started the moment my voice started to come out, I had to like adjust because I was about to be Morty. Oh jeez, Chris Pratt, he is church hates the gays. But hi everyone, I'm the co-host Noah Garcia. Every week I'm subjected to trying to impersonate a celebrity that I have barely ever heard because I don't really watch a lot of celebrity interviews lately. So hi, welcome to our podcast
Well,
where we just talk
all Noah
games.
watches is the Ahsoka
I watch
arcs
The
of.
Expanse.
Oh, okay.
I watch The Expanse on Sci-Fi. Go check it out
I've never
today.
even heard of that.
Oh, I've never watched it, but my friend Jake, our friend Jake, always uh uh plugs it because he loves it. So I'm plugging The Expanse for Jake. Lewis, how are you doing? What have you been watching? What have you been listening to? What's going on?
God, I'm finally out of my fucking Hogwarts cave.
Oh,
As
fantastic.
of
I'm so happy for you.
yeah, as of yesterday, I officially, well, not officially. I need to get the sign off from my editors. Hold on, I gotta clear my throat.
Okay, but basically you just need to like get you need to finalize everything because for our listeners who don't know, Lewis is a games journalist. He writes guides, articles, opinion pieces. If you want to hire him, go ahead and hit him up.
Yeah,
But
please.
he's been working on Hogwarts Legacy for like a hot minute. It's been consuming all of your free time.
Yeah. So it took me roughly 36 hours of
Oh
gameplay
God.
of like, yeah, like that's how
Oh
long.
jeez. Oh jeez, Lewis.
That's how many hours I sunk into the game. And honestly, I could have probably beat the game in like maybe a half of the time if I wasn't working on it. But anyways, took me 15 hours, but that's not including me pausing the game, stopping, going, you know. But yeah, I finally finished all of my work, and it's funny because the day I finished my work is the day all of my editors are out of fucking office. So I
Mhm,
gotta wait until like Sunday or even Tuesday because Monday is President's Day
mhm.
for them to like give me the official sign off. But as of now I'm done and I felt fucking free. Like I like I like money. I like working in games media, but sometimes guides can be kind of drag. like
Mhm. Exhausting.
yeah, because like IGN does it very differently from everybody else. Like
Mhm,
I'm not gonna say much because I don't know how much I can say, but just like the way they do things is uniquely different from like how GameSpot does it, Kotaku, Eurogamer, like all the other big outlets. They do it insanely different. So if you do a guide for IGN, you gotta invest a pretty penny of your time, you know? And I was just like, damn. But I knew what I was signing up for. I've been doing guides for about a year now. And now that I've beat Hogwarts Legacy,
mhm,
they have, like, post-game content where it's, like, missions you could do after you beat the main story, but I haven't completed the final mission. I don't think I
mhm.
ever will because I don't think I'm gonna go
Okay.
back and touch this game for a minute.
Uh-huh.
Not because of all, like, the controversies, just
Mhm,
because this is how I usually am when I work on guides for a game.
mhm.
I'm just like, I'm done with this game.
I'm
Um
curious because if anyone's interested in our like thoughts about like the game and everything behind it and all the drama and everything, you can listen to last podcast. But just I'm curious, Lewis, about just gameplay wise, what you thought of the game.
Okay, so
Like,
I
because the thing is, sorry to interrupt. The
mhm,
thing is, I've seen everyone talk about the drama and everything and make memes, but I haven't really seen people talk about like the gameplay, like casting spells. Is
mhm.
like how does XP work? Like, how does that all happen?
So, I
What's your
one of the things I don't like about the game is that sometimes I felt like the combat could get a little repetitive because you're just spamming right trigger the whole time, you know? Like
yeah, you're just like blasting like
yeah, and you can have okay, you can have 4 spells at once. You know, they have a little thing and like you press your spell buttons and you press your buttons and they have cooldowns. And the one thing I disagreed with this game, I don't think it should have been like an ability you unlock. It's like every time you level up and
Mhm,
as you progress through the game, you can unlock more spell slots. So in theory, what you can do is like as you're playing the game, you press right trigger to do your basic attack.
mhm,
But if you hold right bumper and then you move the D-pad up, down, left, or right,
mhm,
you have a new set of spells. So like let's say you use all your main spells on your up D-pad, you press right
mhm.
bumper right, and then you have a new set of spells and you can just keep rotating.
Oh, okay.
That was cool, but it just felt like at the end of the day, no matter what, I was just spamming right trigger. And like I'm like, oh man, I felt like they could have done some creative things with Hogwarts
Mhm,
Legacy, especially because early in the game, there's this girl named Natty,
mhm,
and you don't have to talk to her. You don't have to like get in depth with this conversation with her if you don't want to in the game. But if you do,
mhm,
you find out she's from Uganda, I believe.
mhm.
She's from Africa for sure. I believe Uganda, like specifically. And she's talking about how, like, their equivalent of Hogwarts is actually the best in the world, and, how they don't actually need to use wands for magic, like, they could just use their hands.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, that's so fucking cool," and I was like I was thinking, I was like, "Man, that would be cool. That's, like, a feature you can learn maybe, like, late into the game or something." 'Cause, like, it's kinda awkward when, like, you're fighting, a dude, like a ranger with a crossbow, and you guys are
Mhm,
right next to each other, and you're just using ranged attacks at each other, and you're less than, like, 2 feet from one another. I'm like, "Man, like, I wish there was, like, a melee system or something like that. Cause imagine how cool it could be if you could, like, kinda do, like, an Iron Fist kinda punch, but with magic. Like, that would be kinda cool. But, yeah, the combat did feel a bit repetitive at times, and, uh and to kind of, like, change topics a little bit, and I know it's Hogwarts, what did you expect? It's wizards, but I was like,
mhm,
I just kinda wanted something a little bit different. Um, so for the guy like, I was hired to do, like, all the side quests in Hogwarts. Like, everything that was in Hogwarts was my responsibility, and,
mhm.
by the time I had beat the game, I was, like, level 29, close to 30. I was pushing 30 for sure. And, I thought it was extremely bullshit because I know for a fact I was higher than the average Joe when I got to, like, the end game, when like, you know? And I was like, "Why am I facing enemies that are still higher levels than me?" Like I'm way over leveled for this, and I'm over here fighting, like, a level 32 troll. Like, that's kinda bullshit.
Is are the enemies more so based on your level than
Yeah,
like
I think that's the
than
case. And which I thought another thing was more dumb was that, like, it would even tell you, like, "Oh, this level recommendation is 27," but you're fighting,
Mhm.
like, level 29 enemies. I'm like, "No, that's not a level 27 recommendation, that's a level 29 recommendation." Like, whoever did that is needs to get their ass beat, you know?
Yeah, beat their ass.
And,
Beat
another
'em up.
another few parts that, like I'm being kind of vague in case people wanna play the game because I know there's been spoilers,
Mhm.
but it's only been about, like, 2 weeks.
We're talking about gameplay anyways, like,
Yeah,
we should
yeah, yeah. Another thing too is that, now this may be a bit spoilery, but in the game, they advertise like, "Oh, learn the dark arts, become a dark wizard, this and that." You don't learn like you don't have to learn the dark arts. So here's something for like all of my achievement hunters or trophy hunters.
Mhm,
There's an achievement slash trophy if you learn all the spells in the game. Now, this
mhm.
specific achievement fell under my uh like jurisdiction. I can't say that word. Fell under my
Jurisdiction.
yeah, fell under my responsibility, and I had learned all of the main spells. And
Mhm,
I haven't and by that point I haven't I didn't learn any of like the unforgivable, the curse spells. And when I learned all of, like, the good spells, I got the achievement for it. So just letting you guys know, you don't need to learn the unforgivables. But,
okay.
what I found super dumb was that, like, throughout the game, they add like, at least on TikTok and, like, some, like, YouTube ads I seen, they heavily pushed, "You can learn Avacadabra, you can do this." Like, "You can go
Mhm,
full evil if you want to." That doesn't fucking matter if you do it or not. That's a specific side quest, and you can turn down those powers if you really wanted to, and if you do learn
mhm.
them, no one even looks at you differently. And so I'm like, what's the point of having like it's like they were advertising like a somewhat of a morality system that never came to fruition.
I noticed that sometimes it would be like, "Oh, like, you should learn dark powers," and I'm just like, I thought that would've been interesting if there was a morality section.
Nah, not at all. It's just like they kind of try to guilt you. But by that
Mhm,
point, I'm like, the guy who's teaching you the dark magic, I'm like, "That's my boy. I'm with them to the end. I don't give a fuck."
mhm,
Even if he is in the bad in this situation. And that's how, like, I was talking about it with my girlfriend, and I was kinda being fake
mhm.
with her, with this specific character, and she was like,
So
"Yeah,
she's playing it.
yeah." And she was like, "Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm ride or die with this boy at this point," you know?
Mhm,
And also too, by the time I had learned Advocadaver, which is, like, the killing spell, that I
mhm.
was, like, nearly done with the game. So you don't even learn that spell until, like, very late game.
Oh, damn.
And so I was just like, "What was the point of that?" Like, I would have loved to use this fucking killing spell throughout my adventure, like, early on in the game.
Mhm.
And then oh, go for it.
I
You were
I
gonna ask
as I
something?
as I assume it's like that because it's if you learn it too early, then you can just use it to solve all your problems.
True.
Or
Yeah.
you know what? It'd be interesting if they I have no idea how the game works. It'd be interested to like if a spell like that, you can only use it if you get your enemy to like half health.
Yeah,
You
see
know what I mean?
that if there were some clauses, that'd be cool.
And like it would be cool if they had because I really don't play the game, so you can obviously correct me.
Uh-huh.
It'd be cool if like there was a chance you could take to become a dark wizard. And then the game would like split and you could like learn specific Hogwarts spell and
Yeah,
specific like
that's what I
evil
was
spell.
that's what I was expecting. I
Mhm,
was like, "Oh, like, maybe, like, now that I learned one unforgivable, the fucking dark
mhm,
wizards are gonna be like, 'Hey, you got a taste of us, you want more?'" But nope,
mhm.
that's not the case at all.
Like,
And
that would've been cool.
mhm,
See, devs, if you're gonna do another one probably, because 'cause I'm sure people like this game,
I
you can take our ideas for the low price of $1,000.
I got something to let's put a let's put a
Okay,
fucking
hold
pin
on.
in that.
Yeah.
Um, because I actually read something about that. But yeah, another thing too is that in the game, like with the
Mhm.
pre-orders and stuff, they're like, "Oh, pre-order now." And what's the beast called that like only you can only see it if you witness someone die?
Oh, I know what you're
The
talking about, but I don't
Diestrals
know what
or
it's
something,
called.
I forget.
Uh, Destrals or something
Yeah,
like that. Kestrels.
so one of those. I played the game and I don't fucking remember.
Destiel from Destiel from Supernatural, yeah.
But, they were like, "Oh, if you pre-ordered the game, you could get a Thestio as a mount." And they were like in another part of the game, they were, like, with advertisements, they're like, "Oh, you can ride, like, griffins around all of, like," I was gonna say Middle-earth, but, like, all around Hogwarts and stuff like that. You don't get a mount until, like, late into the game, and, like, where you can ride a hippogriff, but you can also change
Uh-huh.
it to a Thestio. But at that
Mhm.
point too, it is so pointless that you have a mount because for a good portion of the game, you already have a broom that you can use to ride around.
So
And
it's basically cosmetic or
it's just a different mount. They're two different things to summon.
Mhm.
And but I'm like, "Why do I have 2 flying, features in this game now?" You know?
Mhm.
And, it just kinda felt really pointless because even when I got the mount, I found myself using the broom just more, like, almost all the time. Like, I next to never used my flying mount. And, yeah, that was the thing too, and then, like, some of the choices in the game, like, they didn't really feel like they had any, like, serious consequences.
Mhm.
Like, I'm gonna be super vague, but, like, the ending you can choose is, like, it's based off of, like, how you kind of feel, and, a large by and large, I feel like the wizards in this game are the bad guys, and a lot of the reasons why everything is happening is because they're stuck in their old ways. They're
Mhm.
not willing to progress. And they don't even really address that as the problem. They're like, "No, you guys are the problem, not us."
How dare you goblins want rights? That's not how my grandpappy used to do it.
And yeah, so like there's like a lot of and there's like like two main plots happening at once.
Mhm.
It's the Goblin Rebellion and something else. And again, I'm being vague for the people who haven't played the game. And
Mhm.
at the end of the game, I'm like, you know what? Like I'm like, fuck it, let's just open Pandora's box.
Mhm.
Like, the whole reason why this is going is because you guys refuse to open it. And they're like, "What about the
Mhm.
implications?" I'm like, "Look at everything that's happened because you've refused to open it." And so and then when that happened, they looked at me like I was the bad guy. I'm like, "No." I'm like, "This is causing, like, this would do more good in the long run
Oh my
than
god.
gatekeeping this." And to kind of, like, go back to what again, I'm being vague on the ending. And even then, the ending you choose doesn't really even matter. But,
What?
yeah, it doesn't even really matter because it all like, at the end of it, you go back to Hogwarts, you're like you go back to doing your student stuff. It's all happy go ending, you know? But,
The game ends with your funny friend sitting next to you at the table and going, "Well, that was a crazy weekend, wasn't it?" And then
something
you're
like
like,
that kinda happens, it's funny.
"Oh my god, it does. I was joking."
Sorta like that happens. But also too, like, so after you had beat the game, there's 2 post-game quests, and like I said, by the
Mhm.
time I had beat the game, I was, like, level 29, close to level 30. I
Mhm.
I cannot officially finish the game because in order to do the final quest, you have to be level 34, and I looked at that and I was like, "I'm fucking done with this game," and I just turned off my Xbox. I was like, "I'm not gonna do this," and then I found out, because of, like, work, there's a true ending. They try to do, like, the Batman, like, Arkham City thing,
Mhm.
where it's like, if you 100% the game, you unlock the true ending, and I'm like, "You know what? This" again, just because I've been working on this game so long, I was like, "I'm never
Mhm.
gonna fucking get that true ending. I'm just gonna look it up on YouTube." Like, I don't
You're just like, "That's a job for my girlfriend.
yeah, and,
Hey, Elizabeth can handle that. I'm good."
even then, I'm pretty she's not the kinda gamer to be like, I need to find every collectible."
She's
She's probably
mhm.
gonna do the same thing as me.
My sister's not like that. She's more of a gamer that's just like, "I have to get every single collectible. I have to find this and that, da, 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 da," I'm
It's
just like,
it's so funny because I work on a guides team, and I could give 2 shits about collectibles.
mhm.
Like,
That is ironic.
you would think that I would care about it, right? But no, I don't fucking care.
Exactly.
The only collectibles that I actually cared about is
Mhm.
The Last of Us, when you pick up the notes, because I find those notes super compelling.
And plus they have, like, lore stuff. That's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
and they're not too long to read. I hate it when you
Mm.
like, at Hogwarts, like, and, not just Hogwarts, but other games, it's like you pick up, like, a note, and it's like a fucking like a book's worth of pages, and I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna read all this." Uh, but, okay, so going back to the last thing I wanna talk about Hogwarts, um, like I said, I kinda feel like you guys are the bad guys in this situation.
Mhm.
Because, like, I was talking about it with my girlfriend, and she, like, wholeheartedly agrees with me, and it's we were laughing our asses off last night about it. Um, the wizards are kind of like Nazis, like, and I'm like,
Oh my
"What?"
god.
I'm like, "What the fuck?" As I'm playing this game, and, there's, like, some remarks that they say, it's like when like, the whole time the goblins are fighting back, like, they're using magic to fight against the wizards, and the wizards do not like that. This is, like,
Mhm.
very early in the game you figure this out, so I'm not spoiling anything. Um, and the whole reason why they're fighting back is because they want equal rights. Like, they wanna be treated as equals because the wizards just fucking, like, they they just, like, suppress them. They treat them like second class citizens. And so the not the wizards, the goblins are just like, "Alright, fuck it, we have no other option, so we're just gonna
Mhm.
fight for our rights." And I'm like, "I don't blame you guys. I would be doing the same exact thing as you if they kept ignoring, like, diplomatic solutions." Because the whole time they're like, "We can't let a goblin use a wand. We can't let a goblin use magic." And I'm like, "But why?" They're like, "Because they've always been evil. We can never trust a goblin." But I'm like, "Maybe they're evil because you just kind of like you."
Because you've, like, oppressed them for, like, decades of your long, long, long lives.
Yeah, and I'm just like, "Damn." And so there's also like parts in the game like like how like in Spider-Man or God of War when you kill an enemy, you hear like Peter or like Kratos be like he'll say a quip like, "This is what happens when you mess with a god," or something, something like that.
Mhm,
Um, your character, because the leader of the Goblin Rebellion, his
mhm.
name's, Ranrock, I think, and they're like, your blood is on Ranrock's hands. All Ranrock loyalists deserve the same fate." And he was like, "This is what you get for siding with Ranrock." And I'm like, "Damn, like, you're, like, 16 years old, and you're over here, like, you're a straight fucking nationalist."
You're about to say some slurs.
Yeah, and, like, it reminds okay, the character your character in Hogwarts Legacy very much reminds me of the girl in Attack on Titan. Um,
Oh, what's her face? The little girl that kills
the
spoiler, Sasha, right?
Yeah, yeah, your character very much reminds me of her, and I'm just like, "You're just blindly following this shit," and, like, there's, like, other parts in the game too, it's like, "What are your homie Sebastian?" He was like, "These dirty goblins, I can't wait to get rid of them all," and keep in mind too, I've never really the only Harry Potter's things I've seen is Fantastic Beasts in the first one, so I didn't know what
Mhm.
they meant by muggles, and when every time they say muggles, they say it like a slur,
Oh
and
my god.
and I'm like, "Wait, are they talking about regular people?" And
Mhm.
I was talking about it with Elizabeth, they're like, "Yeah, muggles are like ordinary humans." I'm like, "They say that shit like slurs in the game." They're like, "You dirty
Oh
muggle."
my god. Let me tell you, there's in the movies and in the books, Hermione, she has 2 non-magical parents, right?
Uh-huh.
So, Malfoy, he, like, goes up to her and he calls her, like, a mudblood, and that's what that means, it's when you have and he says it like a slur too, he's like, "You filthy mudblood," and I'm just like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, and so there was another thing too where like and then I kinda saw what you
Mhm,
meant with the house elves. I'm like, "Dude, this is
mhm.
fucked up. Why are we just, like, treating these
Yeah.
house elves like this?"
The these poor fucking house elves, man, like,
Like,
that's so
they
sad.
sneeze in front of you, and they're like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." I'm like, "Damn." But
They're abuse victims.
okay, so this is kind of spoilery.
Mhm,
I'm not gonna give context around it, but you have to find there's a part in the game where you have to find the headmaster's, like, secret office, and you have to figure out his passcode to get into, like
mhm.
to get through, like, the magical door, and the thing is, it was, like I forget his last name, let's just say it's fucking Aragon, that was the first fantasy name that came to my mind. Um, let's say his last name is Aragon, and the
Mhm.
password is like Aragon's will be pure forever. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by they will be pure forever? Like like kind of like what you said on the last podcast. There's a lot of like subtle racism in this game, and I was just like, I don't know how to feel about this.
You know, fun fact, according to Bloomberg, J.K. Rowling's creative agency, the Blair Partnership, did work with the developers on the creative decisions throughout the project,
Hmm.
although she wasn't like, personally involved. So you know what? I believe all these things you're saying. Her
Hmm.
people were like, "Okay, you know how the goblins and elves are, like, slaves and oppressed. What if you make that bad?" And everyone was rubbing their hands together and going, "Yeah."
But yeah, those are my thoughts. And to kind of go back to what you said about
Mhm,
like future content, IGN just released an article the other day. I think it was yesterday. Yesterday as of recording this. That the I think it's like Avalanche Studios. I believe that's the people who made Hogwarts. As of right now, they don't plan on making any DLC for the game. But I think that's a heap of shit if you ask me, because money talks, and this game has done fucking numbers, you know? And I am almost confident there's gonna be DLC for this game just because the way it plays, the way it ended, you know? Like it'd be dumb of them not to make DLC from like a monetary point of
Mhm.
view.
Maybe they can make a DLC where you just beat goblin children into submission
Fuck
and then
it,
frame it
just
as like a bad thing. Be
yeah.
like, "Oh, good job, old chap.
Nah,
You sure did show
what
the
I
little goblins how where their place is."
what I could see is that like you do that, but you frame like the Dark Wizards for that, and
Mm,
it's because you need a reason to go attack
mhm.
them, so you just go full fucking American on them.
I that's really we're joking about this, but it's awful.
But, overall, I'd kind of
Mhm,
like, again, because I worked on it, I would give the game, like, a 7.5, but I could see why people gave it, like, an 8
mhm,
and a 9. Like, if I wasn't working on a guide, I'd be like, "Oh, this is kinda fun."
mhm.
But I'd probably give the game, like, a 7.5, maybe, like, a low 8. But yeah, that
It's funny because everything you've told me doesn't sound great. It sounds perfectly whatever. Like, it sounds very whatever.
no, well, because there are parts of the game, I only said the parts I didn't like. But
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
but there are very much parts I did like
Mhm.
essentially they just straight up rip off Pokemon, and you could go like hunt beast, and there's like shiny
That's pretty
beasts,
cool.
and you could go breed them and like feed them and make a little baby beast. It's like super cute, and it's like walking around Hogsmeade is pretty dope, and like I
Mhm,
like riding your broom, and like once you do learn the dark arts, there's some pretty cool combos you can do, like
mhm,
like one of them is that like I think it's Crucio. Like, if
mhm.
you do Crucio on one of the, but you have to upgrade it. If you use Crucio and you hit people, you affect everyone else around you, and they all have the dark arts effect. So,
Mhm.
and if once you have like a chain of people around, like all infected, and you use Avacadabra on one of them, it will kill all of them in the area. So I'm like,
That's kinda cool.
yeah. So there was a part in the game, when I was
Mhm,
like, before I got to the final boss fight, I was fighting. They purposely make it hard, and
mhm,
there's like I was fighting like two trolls and like an army of goblins all at once. So I just
mhm.
used Crucio, got them all within my range, and used the Abracadabra on one of the trolls, and they all just popped. And I'm like, that was fucking cool. So, but yeah, like I said, I only said the parts I didn't like about the game, but
Mhm.
there is a good portion of the
I
game
I
that you
I
that
do think it's weird though that you can because Crucio is supposed to be like an unforgivable curse. Like that's to torture people.
yeah.
That's basically like a war crime in your hand. And the fact that you can just Crucio a bunch of people, then Avada Kedavra to straight up fucking murder someone is insane to me.
Yeah.
But it's very funny because I see a lot of TikToks of people like, don't come to Hogwarts tomorrow. And then you see them Avada Kedavraing everyone. I'm just like, oh my God, what's your problem? I feel like people you I don't know this can be sound like the dorkiest shit you've ever probably heard me say,
Hmm.
but which says a lot. But I people sometimes there's an option to be terrible and evil in video games, and a lot of people do that for fun. I feel bad when I'm evil in games.
I no, I feel
Like
that.
that cannot be me.
They're okay. I'd
Even though
say
it's just a game, it's just for fun. I'm just like, I can't be evil.
there's a handful of games where I just can't be evil.
Mhm,
Like Mass Effect is one of them.
mhm,
I love my like even like I went back and I streamed that game like a year or two ago when they
mhm,
re-released it. But like I just couldn't find myself to be a dick to my crewmates because I'm like I just love them too much, you know?
mm,
But on the flip side, I feel like certain games could do it right. Like Fallout is one of them, where it's like
mhm,
if you're a bad guy, it's kind of funny, and like you
mhm,
could do some crazy shit. And I'm like, ooh, I kind of want to see what's gonna happen. Like they encourage you,
mhm,
because like for instance, like in Fallout 3, one of the side quests early in the game, it's like one of the first things you do. You stumble across into this town called Megaton, and they have a
Uh-huh.
giant nuke in the middle of the town.
Oh
And
my god.
as you do the side quests in that area, you find out that that nuke is still active. And
Oh
the
my
whole
god.
the whole lore of Fallout essentially is that like a nuclear holocaust happened across the world. But this one nuke just didn't go off. And so what ends up happening is that you you don't have to do this, but you if you find a hotel that's maybe like on the other side of town, they're like, "Yeah, blow if you
Keep
blow
on
it,"
talking.
they're like, "If you blow up the city, we'll give you the suite in this hotel, and you can live the high life of us, but you gotta kill everybody there." And I'm like, "I kinda want that hotel. Imma blow the fuck out of this city." And so, like, you could, like, straight up blow up the city.
Oh my god, that's insane.
And then there was, like, another part too where, like, there's, like you could essentially I'm not gonna say that out of context, that might sound bad. Um, but there's
Just let me know, in this post-apocalyptic future, can you still hit the gritty?
I'm pretty sure there's mods for that, yeah.
Okay, never mind. You should blow it up.
But that
Blow it all up.
but that's what I'm saying, like, in Fallout, like, they kind of, like
Mhm.
there's incentive to being a bad guy, and, like,
Oh my god.
it's kind of funny if you, like, go down the bad guy route sometimes. B but, there's a handful of games where I just fully commit to being a bad guy,
Mhm,
but I think most of the time I always try to be a good guy, unless the game I'm playing, like Cyberpunk, for instance, where it's like, no matter how you weave it, you're kind of a bad guy.
mhm,
So I'm like, "Alright, fuck it, I'm just gonna kinda embrace the anti-hero perspective." Or if you're playing like Red Dead where it's like, he's not a bad guy, he's a good guy, like,
mhm.
I always try to, like, fit the theme of the world. But yeah, that's kinda neither here nor there.
So I'm happy to hear some of your thoughts on the game because I just to reiterate from earlier,
Mhm.
I really haven't heard people talk about gameplay.
Yeah, like, the gameplay's smooth, like,
Mhm,
I did like, flying around on my broom.
mhm.
I did like capturing beasts. There wasn't a lot of even though I did do a lot of side quests, there wasn't a lot of things I didn't do still because I was very restricted to my area, so I didn't go out and explore the world as much.
Yeah, because you were working,
Yeah,
basically, you couldn't really.
like my girlfriend was telling me because like I was looking at like her character's cosmetics and she had like this
Mhm,
like Trojan war helmet. I'm like, that's cool as fuck. Where'd you get that helmet? And she was like, oh, I went to like this bandit camp and fought a bandit leader. You should do it. It's pretty cool. I'm like, that sounds dope, but I don't got time to
mhm.
do that right now.
You said with a sad face, you're like, "I can't do that at
Yeah,
all."
so there was a whole like wave of like mini bosses and like side activities I completely missed out on. And
See,
that's
so
just
mhm.
the nature of the beast of, like, how I work?
Do you
Oh,
think one day you might go and try to, do some of these, or are you just like, "Eh, I don't need to revisit this for a while?"
I think I'm of the latter half just because
Mhm,
of how much time I invested in that game. So, if anything, I could see myself going back in, like, a year or 2 when the heat dies down and kinda,
mhm.
like, streaming the game, but that's about it.
I like how you're saying this like you're robbing something. "Oh, when the heat dies down, we'll head back over there."
No, bro,
Like
because
you're another thief.
there's a legitimate website. I forget the
No, I
name.
believe you. People are crazy.
Yeah, there's a legitimate website where it's like, it shows all the streamers, like, streaming that game so that way he could go, like, hate on them.
Joke's on them, you're streaming Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't honestly too, I'm so fucking happy because I'm like, as I'm playing this game, I'm like, go back and play The Last of Us too. I haven't beat
Mhm.
it. I started playing Hogwarts. I'm like, man, what's gonna happen with Ellie and fucking and Abby? Like, I missed my girls. I want to see what they're doing right now.
That's very cute, but, every time you mention The Last of Us 2, I in my brain has to, like, mentally prepare for this shit storm of discourse that's gonna happen when that season 2 comes out and it's about that.
I haven't gotten to the part of the game yet where everyone hates
Mhm.
on. I've gotten, but
Well, people hate the entire game, so
oh, okay, okay. But yeah, I miss my girls. I miss my fucking murder girls. I need to see how that story concludes.
Mhm.
Because the last thing I remember that I got to in that game was Jesse re fuck, what happened? It was you you beat the fuck out of Ellie, like killed this girl that got infected with the spores. Like she just like beat the shit out of her with a
Oh,
club.
yeah, she, like they go down there and she's just like, "That's right, I can't get infected," and then she, like, kills her, right?
Yeah, and then she was like, "I know what Joe did." And that's
Mhm.
the last thing. It's been like it's been half a month since I played that game, so that's the last
Oh
thing I
my
remember.
gosh.
But yeah, that's where I left off. But okay, I talked a lot, Noah.
No, it's okay, I was very interested.
I know.
Before we mhm.
Go. Oh, go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
I was gonna say, before we move on to our next topic, I wanna plug something. Uh
BetterHelp.com. Use code.
Use code dumbslutbitch for 10% off BetterHelp.com. No, fun fact, I don't know if anyone here reads comic books, but you ever heard of a little person like Nightwing, Starfire, Beast Boy, Raven, Cyborg, Donna Troy, Wally West the Flash? Well, guess what, you dumb sluts? They're getting their brand new book. They're their premier team, the Justice League. Whack, tired, boring. The Titans, tight as fuck. And guess what? I'm not being paid to say any of this. Guess what? The first issue of the Titans book, the brand new premier A-list superhero team in the DC universe, is dropping May 16th. I want everyone to go out and buy this gosh darn book. I love the Titans so much. I'm really excited because currently there is no Justice League in the DC universe. They kind of disbanded. They're just like, we need one of our annual breaks or reconvene at a later date. But until we do that, because they're coming back, they need a team to fill in sort of that slot of defenders of the world. And that's going to be the Titans. And
You,
I'm very excited because they deserve it.
I saw the meme cover they did with the
Mhm.
rappers.
Oh, that was for Nightwing.
Oh, okay. That one was cool. I
Mhm. That was
really.
I thought that what was funny is that, before we started recording, we kinda talked about, like, there are people in the comic world that are kinda pretentious and
It's like,
uppity.
hold on, to give the outside listener perspective.
Mhm,
This is like film Twitter. If you guys have ever
mhm,
like heard of that meme where it's like, "Oh, you only watch, Quentin Tarantino movies. I watch movies like Martin Scorsese, like James Cameron."
mhm,
Like, just to kinda give you an idea, like that. It's like that, but for comics. It's like, "Oh,
mhm.
you read the X-Men? I read real comics
I
like."
read Saga and The
Yeah.
Walking, yeah, like,
Yeah,
so
like
it's
that.
so there was, like, a comic cover that came out for Nightwing, because the Titans are gonna be in the Nightwing book a bit to, like, lay some foundation for the Titans book, right? So basically, they came out with a cover because they show previews of covers, and it was basically that meme where like they're having a big rap battle, and the guy
It's
like,
the Super Hot Fire
mhm,
where
yeah,
it's that guy. If you go watch those YouTube
mhm,
videos, if you haven't seen them, they're fucking hilarious.
and it's like roasting the hell out of each other, and
Yeah.
everyone's freaking out. Ah! And the Titans recreated that meme, and people are like, "Wow, this is racist. Look how they draw these features. Wow, what a tired old meme. Wow, da 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 da." Da. And I'm just like, it's just for fun, guys.
Yeah, and on top of that too, when I think The Last of Us Part 2 was coming out, Neil
Hmm.
Druckmann made a bunch of GIFs. I don't know if it was him specifically, but I'm just naming him.
Hmm.
He made a bunch of GIFs, recreating memes, and that was one of them where it's like Ellie leaning back, and you see like Joel or one of the clickers like running. So I'm like, people have like iterated upon this meme. It's not just like it's not a race thing.
Hmm.
I think it's just a meme thing.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just people blew it out of proportion.
I think
So
it's
it's
fucking
just
hilarious.
I thought it was fine.
Uh,
I was very neutral about it.
Like, I don't even read
But
Nightwing
mhm.
comics, but I'll probably buy that cover just to have
But
it.
then there are also people that's just like, Dick is supposed to be Romani, dark skinned. Why is he pale as a ghost on the cover? And I'm just like, yeah, Dick's Romani, but I feel like you're picking at a very like tiny thread here. So it just seems okay. But aside from all of
Wait,
that,
he's Romanian?
yeah, he's
Romanian?
Romani.
Sorry if I mispronounced that, but,
No,
I always just thought he was just a white boy.
I'm not gonna go full detail on it because I don't know the full detail, but I believe there's been some story details in the past that his parents were Romani in some way.
Okay, okay, that's new to me, I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's a very recent thing, so it could just
Mm.
not be like is I don't think it's in main continuity right now.
Okay, so it may
So
or
there's
may
been
not be
past
canon.
yeah, it's one of
Okay.
those.
Like the
So
Three Jokers
basically
kinda thing?
yeah,
Gotcha,
like
gotcha,
you can
gotcha.
take it or leave it. But
Okay,
he's,
okay.
like, always drawn as white, so people don't really like, you know what I mean?
Okay, okay, sorry, that was just new to me.
No, it's okay. No, it's been a thing for a hot minute, but, yeah, they're replacing the Justice League basically, so I'm very excited for them. Comics are in this weird, like, advantage and disadvantage, the advantage being that since your superheroes never age, you can have them around forever, playing over the same old stories. Like they're never gonna really die out because even when they die, they come back, and that's the advantage. And the disadvantage is that they never really get a chance to grow, like
That's why you gotta
Batman relation.
why you
Mhm.
gotta read the C-listers, baby.
Exactly, because the C-listers are allowed to grow. Like, Batman could never grow up really, he could never grow from where he is, but Jason Todd could get, like, married, he could lead a team, he could do this, he could do that. Because he's not, like, that staple character, he has a chance to grow. Another thing about the Titans, because the Titans, they were all, like, either young independent heroes or all sidekicks, now growing into their own, and they have, like, the room to change and grow. Like, back in the '80s, like, this is a weird thing, but back in the '80s, like, Donna Troy, the first sidekick of Wonder Woman, she had a husband and a kid.
Hmm.
And, you know, Dick is always off and on with lovers and whatever, but,
Yeah,
like,
he's a
I
straight
but
man whore.
he's a slut, he's the biggest slut, but right now he's with Barbara Gordon
See how
Batgirl.
long that lasts.
Honestly, just stick him with I don't because I know there are, like, pairing wars, like, "Oh, he should be with Starfire. Oh, he should be with Batgirl." I don't care. As long as he's with someone and they just stick it. I'm just tired of all these flip-flop
I'm
relationships,
just
like
like, just give him something to stick it in. I don't give a fuck.
even some people are just like, "Oh, Nightwing should be bi," and I'm just like, "I don't care. Just give him someone to stick with and stick with it."
You know,
I really don't
that's the
care.
one time I gotta gatekeep on the gays.
Mhm,
I don't see him being gay at like at any kind. He's too straight.
mhm.
He's way too straight to be bi. What do you think?
No, I feel that. I feel like if that came out, I'd be like, "Well, what?" I'd be like, I'd be a little like confused, but I'd be like, I wouldn't be mad about it.
He's because he gives
I'd be
me
like, "I've never seen this before."
he gives me the Ned Flander vibes where it's like it feels like I'm wearing nothing at all. And he just that's him. That's him. Okay, go on. I'm sorry, I was
No,
interrupting you a
no, it's
lot.
okay. No, it's okay. But yeah. So I'm just gonna remind everyone, May 16th, this year, May 16th, first issue. Everyone go pick it up. I'm very excited. I hope this runs forever. I hope it never stops because the Titans are my favorite team.
Yeah, Titans are dope. The only Titans issue I read was the
Mhm,
Rebirth one where they bring back
mhm.
Wally, and I really enjoyed that one a lot. I thought it was really, really good.
Oh yeah,
And from what I heard from you and like a few other people, that's probably one of the best Titans run, right?
I think it's pretty good.
What's your problems with it? What's your problems with it?
No, I don't think I my biggest problem with it is that it was cut short
Hmm.
because spoilers for the 2016 Rebirth Titans run. But okay, okay. So there was this guy called KG Beast that put a hit out on I think it was Batman. Nightwing got in the way and Nightwing got shot in the head, right? Nightwing was in the hospital, but when he woke up, he had memory loss. He called himself Rick Grayson. He wore hoodies without shirts for a while. It was a whole thing. But basically, because Nightwing got shot in the head, the Titans book was like disrupted because like several characters left to go off to other books. Some did this and that. So the Titans, the writer got switched up, the artist got switched up. It was a whole switch up. And not that those stories weren't bad, but it just didn't feel like the Titans to me. I was like, okay, but I miss my old team. So it
So
just
your
I didn't
biggest
like how it
problem
got
was that it
interrupted.
was cut short.
Yeah.
Okay, I respect that. On a side note, it's one of my favorite Nightwing stories.
When he gets
Uh,
shot in the head.
Uh, no, I thought that I'm always a
Man, I'm
fan.
happy. I hate that.
I'm always a fan of interesting choices.
Mhm,
Like I'm happy they did that because it's like okay, now you have a
mhm,
new iteration of Nightwing. Just kind of like how
mhm,
I stopped reading Red Hood after they like completely changed his character.
mhm,
Not because I stopped reading, not because I didn't like it, it was because it got too expensive. But like I'm like, I didn't really care for that iteration of Red Hood, but I'm like, I'm happy that's there. Um, but it's the one where he becomes like a secret agent. He's like essentially 007.
Oh, it's like, Agent 37 or something, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a controversial take or not, but I really enjoyed that one. I thought it was super cool because
No,
uh,
that was really good.
I'm like, this isn't Nightwing anymore. This is just fucking
Mhm.
007. And I'm like, I'm all for it. Like, this is so
See,
fucking
and
cool.
the thing is, he's a flexible enough character to do that.
Yeah, he basically looked like Archer. If you want an Archer
Mhm.
comic book where Archer doesn't dick around, go read that.
Oh, you know where some of the bisexual things came up during that it was during that era. No, because there was panels where, like, he was adjusting his tie, and the literal speech bubble was, "Am I straight?" And he's talking about his tie. And then there's this gay character called Midnight who's basically like Batman with computer brain who kills. That's who Midnight is.
Okay, okay.
And, he just hit on Nightwing a lot during that book.
That's funny. That's really funny.
And because there's this thing, the secret agency that Nightwing worked for called Spiral, they give these agencies things that make their face look like a swirl, so you can't really see their identities. But when Midnighter was there, he was looking at him. He's just like, "I can't see your face, but I recognize that ass anywhere." I thought that was funny.
I like how they're like playing on that trope.
Mhm. Which
Also,
is that's become like a character trope for all Nightwing across all properties now.
but
That's
that's the
very
thing.
funny
His
to me.
his ass is synonymous. That's like his that's
Mhm.
like his S or his
Yeah.
bat. That's what it is. No one looks at
Mhm.
the bird on his chest. They look at his booty.
Look at his little booty. Even funny, there was these Nicholas Scott covers where it has, like, all the different
Uh
costumes,
huh.
and they had Nightwing in, like, a feminine pose showing his ass, and that was just so funny.
Because that's some shit he would do.
That is what something you would do.
Also, to backtrack,
Mhm.
one of the things I saw that was super funny on pretentious comic book Twitter was
Oh my god,
you
okay.
retweeted it, which I get it, but it was
Mhm.
like, here's my favorite moments when Bruce Wayne used a weapon, and it was like Thomas Wayne as
Yeah,
Flashpoint, and then it was
'cause they
like,
none of them were Bruce,
well,
and
one
one
of
of them
them
was
was
a
Bruce,
grappling gun.
one of them
Yeah,
was
but it was a
Bruce.
grappling gun.
No, 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 one of them was the Joker who laughs before he
Oh,
became
right,
the
right,
Joker
right.
who
Yeah,
laughs.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, you got one of them, right? But then I was looking at the comments and everyone was like, technically this is not right. This and I'm like, oh my god, you fucking you nerds have become what you sought to destroy. I felt like Obi-Wan,
I feel like there are more pretentious things you could choose from, but yes,
but
that's,
that was,
that was technically Bruce.
yeah. I just found that super funny that everyone was like up in arms. But okay, Noah, do you have
Mhm.
anything else you want to talk about with the Titans, Nightwing?
No, I think I'm done with Titans. I'm never done with Titans. I could go all day, but we need to stop because I will go
If you
all
were
day.
locked in a room
Mhm.
with um Dick
My name's
Grayson
Noah. Oh, okay.
or
Uh,
John Kent, and they both wanted to bang, but you could only bang one, who would it be and why?
just neither.
They both wanted you, Noah. Consensual.
No, that's the thing. They're both in relationships.
Nah, in
I
this
don't
point,
break
in this,
relationships.
they're all
Okay.
like
Uh-huh.
they're both single and ready to mingle.
Oh my gosh. I guess Nightwing because he's a full on adult, and Jonathan Kent is 17.
Wait, he is?
Yeah, he's 17.
Oh, okay.
It's just the art. No, sometimes art will make
It's that
kids
it's
look
that
like
anime
adults.
thing, right? Where it's like,
Yeah, like, they got D cups, and she's like, "I'm 14 years old," and it's
okay,
like,
this
why is it
and
animated as a
Jonathan Kent is
children?
the gay Superman, right?
He's a bisexual Superman, yeah.
Bisexual super, okay, okay, I'm making sure I was getting it because I
Mhm.
know there's another Superboy, right, who wears like a,
That's the clone.
yeah, I like him, he's cool, he reminds me of, like,
Oh
a character straight out of Grease.
oh, yeah, he's getting his own little miniseries coming, I
Good.
think in April.
He deserves it.
He does deserve it. He's been through a lot of shit.
Okay, but, anything else you wanna talk about with
I have a I uh-huh.
regards to comics or, like, DC Comics?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
That was my long
Okay,
rant.
well, let's move over from DC Comics to their rivals, the better ones, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, even though they're not comics. I know you just saw Ant-Man,
Mhm,
3. I haven't seen it yet. I'm
mhm.
probably gonna watch it in, like, 2 weeks when I can go for free.
Well, I wanna
Mm.
know what's your thoughts on this movie in general? Like, are
I
you excited? Are you very neutral? What's going on?
At first I was excited,
Mhm,
and then I saw the trailer that played Elton John, and then I was like, "Oh, okay, I kind of see what you're doing here."
mhm.
I felt like I already seen this movie because I was like, "Oh, it's very like Star Warsy." It's like they got like their equivalent of the cantina, and you're doing some weird shit, you know? And
That's very funny.
and is I read I didn't read, I had a YouTuber read it back to me, but
Mhm,
it was like the Kang Dynasty, and I was like, after kind of like exposing myself to that story, I'm like, I don't know how they're gonna do it in the MCU without like some of the core people that they had in the
mhm,
comics. And so I was just like, and I started to kind of feel hot and cold about it, you know?
mhm.
And I'm like, Kang looks cool, but I don't, it's just, they're missing so many people that I don't know how they're gonna pull it
Yeah,
off.
they definitely have to catch up with a lot of characters.
Because in the Kang Dynasty, spoiler free, Steve Rogers, Captain America, and I say
Mhm.
that not to like sound racist or anything, but that's how like in the comic world, that's
No,
how they separate them.
you're referring it's that Captain
Yeah,
America.
I just want to like make sure other people who aren't in the know
Mhm,
understand what I'm saying.
mhm,
Steve Rogers, Captain America, and Tony Stark, Iron Man, are like some big ball players in that. And so I'm like, I could see Sam Wilson, Captain America, taking that spot
mhm,
easily, but I'm like, it just it won't be the same because he hasn't yet like kind of I don't want to say earned Captain America, but he doesn't have that same like gravitas just yet, you know?
mhm.
So
I thought you were gonna say there's no one for the Tony spot.
well, that too. Well, that, like it just it like I said, those are the only two people I remember at the top of my head. But like those are, I'm like I just wonder how they're gonna play it off. But anyways, I'm going on a tangent that I don't really have my thoughts all together. What were your thoughts on Ant-Man 3? Spoiler free.
I thought it was perfectly okay.
I've seen people hating on it on Twitter already. Like,
Yeah, I thought it was funny when you said it looks like some Star Wars shit because I saw it with, some friends and, shout out to Emily, she'll never listen to this. She turned to me and she was just like, "This is some Star Wars shit." And I was like, "Yeah." So I thought that was funny. There were moments in the film that I thought were, like, genuinely funny, and I was like, "Oh, that's a joke," and there were moments where I laughed because it just was so absurd.
hmm is it like
I
absurd, like comic book absurd, or just like, all right, this is just
Yes, it was
okay,
absurd, I would say comic book absurd.
okay, okay, okay.
I feel like the best parts of the movie was Michelle Pfeiffer as Janet Van Dyne, the mom,
She was in the
and
last
Jonah
one too, right?
yeah,
That's the one they go
she was
rescue,
near the
right?
end.
Okay, okay,
Mhm.
okay, okay.
She was really good in this movie, I really liked her, and, Jonathan Majors as Kang was really good. He basically was the best part of that movie, I
I
feel.
figured that was gonna be the case
Mhm.
too.
He does this performance where it's like okay, so for everyone, you've seen Loki, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that version of Kang is kinda like jokester, "I'm tired, I wanna retire," like, kind of like relaxed but powerful character, right?
Mhm.
This version of Kang that we see is like quiet rage. It's, like, very unnerving. It's like every time he talks, you feel like he's about to kill someone when he's done talking.
Is it like Homelander? Oh no, you've never seen The
I've
Boys.
never I've never
Go
seen
watch
The
The
Boys.
fucking Boys. God damn it.
Well, for, not friend of the show, Diego Crespo approves of The Boys, so I should go watch
Yeah, I never mind. Don't go watch The Boys. I hate that show. Fuck it. I used to be
it.
one of my favorite shows up until maybe like 2 seconds ago. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, I'm being petty for the sake of being petty.
No, I know, but, yeah, I thought his performance was almost unnerving. I thought it was really good. It was like a quiet anger, just like,
That's
"It's
that's
not
that's
the first
interesting
time I've had to kill someone."
because
Like, it was so good.
in the trailers he very much
Mhm.
looks like super ragey, like he's like, you know?
Yeah, like, there are moments where he gets really you can tell the moments he does get mad, you can kinda tell, like, he's holding back his rage, like, 24/7.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So there how is Kang in their universe? Because like do they address
Oh,
that?
that's a plot point. Yeah, that's a big plot point.
Okay, because I'm like, Kang
Mhm.
shouldn't be there per se, right? because he's like in the microverse or whatever. But that's
That's gonna be brought up 100%.
okay. That was one of the things I was super curious about.
So I won't go into that because that is actually, like, a real plot point of the movie.
Okay. But
So,
continue with
like,
your
why
thoughts.
is he there? What's his plans? Like, that's a big part of it.
Like he's been there, but no one, but he's been in like the miniverse essentially.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
interesting.
okay. I'll stop asking questions
So,
on that.
yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer, Jonathan Majors, best part of the film. Everyone else was fine. They re I feel bad for the actress who played Ant-Man's daughter because she found out that her character was recasted,
That's
like, in such a
right. They did recast her. I forgot about that.
'cause she had an actress for,
Endgame.
and I felt bad for this new girl that just took her job. I was like, "Oh, they took her
You
job."
know, every time in the trailers I see Ant Man's daughter, I think it's Nancy from Stranger Things. I'm like, wait, what? I always have to like second look at her.
That's funny. Yeah, so I feel she was not. I know some people don't like little kid characters, but I thought she was fine.
She's a kid. She looked like an adult. Like
Yeah, she's supposed to be, like, 18 or something,
okay.
but I thought it was fine. I didn't really have any problems with it. The plot is it feels there's a lot going on.
Mhm.
I think that's why it's very comic booky. You know, when you have those comic books where, like, there's a lot of dialogue and there's, like, a like, not, like, smart complex, but almost needlessly complex plot, like, there's a lot going on.
And you got to read like the randomest tie-in to understand what they're talking
Yeah.
about. Gotcha. Yeah, I got you, man.
So it just felt like a lot, but I can understand it just because I'm used to sci-fi bullshit,
Mhm.
but I feel like some of the people I was watching with was like, "What's going on? What the fuck is happening?" So I
Yeah,
understand.
I saw people like this is gonna lead into the next question I'm gonna ask you. They're like, yeah, dude, like I can't believe the guy who wrote this is gonna write King Dynasty now. Like, what the hell? And and then I saw a tweet which was like, you know, the guy who wrote like all the scary movies and superhero movies also wrote Chernobyl and is currently writing The Last of Us. What's your point? And in my head,
Mhm.
I'm like, you know what? That guy has some fucking range. I would love to be in a room with him just to talk about it. I'm like, so when you're writing scary movie, now the clickers, you know, like there's a plethora of topics you could talk about with this dude.
The guy who did Chernobyl doing Last of Us seems like a really good fit.
Yeah, he seems like a fun guy. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. I'm gonna
Let
get
me tell you,
sidetracked.
the the screenwriter for this movie, Jeff Loveness, do you wanna hear what he's worked on?
Yeah, hit me.
Jimmy Kimmel Live,
Okay. You know,
Rick and Morty,
that's pretty impressive on itself because like any people who work on like late night shows like SNL or that, like that's a lot of work. Okay, but Rick and Morty, go on.
the Emmys,
The Emmys. I never thought about that, but yeah, they do need
the
writers.
like, 1 episode, oh, he was acting. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. And that's pretty much it.
So this is like his like biggest thing to date.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rick and Morty?
Yeah, you said that one.
Oh, I did, okay, yeah, yeah, that's basically it.
Damn,
And he's doing Quantumania and Kang Dynasty.
good for him. Get that bag.
Yeah.
Bleed fucking Disney dry as much as you can.
You know what the thing is that the MCU is ending anyways, so it's fine. It's
Okay,
all over. It's
so
all coming to an end.
after watching this, are you excited for King Dynasty?
No.
Are you saying that like seriously?
I'm excited to see more Jonathan Majors.
Okay.
That I don't I just feel like okay, so there's I feel like this movie wastes it feels like it does a lot of things and it feels like it does nothing at the exact same time. So this isn't spoilery. This isn't spoilery. Sorry, I had to adjust my chair so if you're moving. I'm trying not to be spoilery, but there's sort of this conversation that comes up between Ant-Man and his daughter. And I'll spoil this because it's not brought up ever. It's only brought up like twice. And she's just like, "Oh, dad, why don't you help more people?" And the entire time while she's doing that, I'm just like, "Little girl, he's providing for you. He's working. Like he's out there. He is a superhero. Just because he doesn't go and Batman during the night doesn't mean he's not helping people." and it's just it's a conversation that's brought up a couple times, but it's never really resolved. They never have like a conversation about it where he's just like, "I was a fucking Avenger. I have helped people. What are you like?" They never sit down and talk about it, and I feel like that's something that's in a lot of the film, or like they pick up a conversation or an idea, and then they never follow it to its conclusion.
Hmm.
And I feel like there was a little bit left out to dry. Like they could have definitely incorporated more like, the resolution of some ideals placed in there. Like
Now,
they mhm.
oh, keep going, keep going.
Like they do thing like I'm really trying not to spoil it, but they'll do a thing where Michelle Pfeiffer talks about her time in the zone and like how that affected her.
Hmm.
And it's interesting because they pick it up, but they never talk about, like, how that affected her. Like, you get to see how she deals with it, but it feels like it's kinda dropped halfway through, and I'm just like, I wish we could carry that through the whole thing.
Because that's gonna be their Disney Plus show. They're laying the foundation.
Oh my god, did you hear the anti-vaxxer Evangeline Lilly wants a Wasp movie?
That's okay. See, this is good. That's I'm happy you brought that up because I was gonna ask, do you think there's gonna be any more like solo Ant-Man movies?
I
Uh,
hope not.
did they kind of lay the foundation for that, or do you think?
Not at all.
Okay, so I okay.
But then
Because
again, not every movie needs to have, like, a yeah, they have, like, a Thanos-esque like hint, like there's a greater villain.
mhm,
I won't say what's going on, but there's like a greater villain coming, and
Galactus.
yeah, Galactus is coming to eat your planet. But
You know what I am hoping for, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
mhm,
Just because I've been getting really into Doctor Doom as of late,
mhm.
and there's this YouTuber, I forget his name. I think it's Comics Explained. I believe is I'm
Oh my
gonna
gosh, pretentious comic fans hate him.
really
Yeah.
why?
Well, the thing, just the way I have never seen his videos, so I'm not saying this as someone who's seen
Okay,
them.
so you're saying from
But
your
people,
dude. Okay, go.
yeah, people don't like his videos and the way he structures them. Apparently.
I like him, and it's like
Mhm.
Comic Storian. Those are the guys that I got into.
Mhm.
But
Also, shout out to Jake because Jake likes those guys.
yeah, he's been Comics Explained has been covering Rob Hickman's Fantastic Four run,
Oh,
and
Jonathan Hickman?
yeah, Jonathan Hickman. My bad.
I had to be a nerd. Do you mean Jonathan Hickman, actually?
No, I'm happy you corrected me because I want to properly give credit to this
Yeah,
guy.
I was giving you a chance to bully me.
Oh
I'm happy
no,
you did.
um,
Nature's healing.
that's not me. Never bully. Um, but but Comics Explained has been saying too, like this is the Fantastic Four story that
Mhm,
everyone kind of like loves, and
mhm.
I again I'm gonna I'm gonna stand my ground. Reed Richards is the villain, and Doctor Doom is a good guy, and like after kind of
You
like
know what?
huh.
No one would argue with you on that. No one would argue with you.
So, that's why in Doctor Strange, too, when he was like, "You're the biggest threat to the multiverse," and I'm like, "Motherfucker, did Reed Richards just say that?" Like, but, anyways, I know Doom, Doctor Doom, and in the comics, Doom and Kang have a lot of like back and forth with each other. Like they're kind of mutually afraid of one another because they understand the implications of them fighting could destroy like the fabric of reality.
Mhm,
And I'm like, "Oh, that'd be kinda cool to get something like that in in the MCU," because I know they're gonna do the Secret Wars, and I'm assuming they're gonna do the last Secret Wars where, like, Doom decides to fucking be god of the multiverse,
mhm.
and that's how, like, Miles and them come in. But, I just I would like to see an interaction with Doom and Kang, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Yeah, that's it. That's really all I wanted to say.
No, I appreciate the input, and, you know, I'm not a Fantastic Four person, but they've always seemed cool. And Jonathan Hickman's an insane writer, and I love him.
You should I'll send you the playlist if you ever feel like watching it, but it's pretty good. Like, the g
Yeah,
he
for sure.
but, do you have anything else on Ant-Man you wanna talk about? Or any MCU
Um,
related? I know there was a Marvels poster, and you're like the only person who likes the Marvels that I know.
Oh, no, I'm happy because my algorithm brought me to other people that also like the Marvels. According to I don't care. According to enemy of the podcast, Diego Crespo, who, 'cause, he has friends that, like, do, like, tech stuff and stuff in MCU. Apparently, the behind the scenes of that movie is that it's a mess,
Really? Okay.
like, story-wise.
I
So
wonder.
they're like so hopefully pushing it back, they can film new stuff, they can work on the CGI because it really sucks because I want more female color female, uh, people of color. I want more, like, of
More
these films.
representation.
More
Uh,
representation, thank you. But if it's bad, then it doesn't prove people right, it just gives them more ammo for saying we shouldn't have these type of things.
yeah, now that I'm looking at it, that is kind of a colorful cast.
Mhm.
You have a black woman, you have a white woman, and you have she's Middle Eastern,
Uh,
correct?
yes, I
Yeah,
believe
so
Pakistan.
yeah, so
So,
you
that's
have a
all 3
wide
women.
variety. Yeah.
That's all 3 women in the world, I'm pretty sure. Watch every other woman get mad at me,
I'm just
but
not gonna say anything on that, but
I was trying to make a bad joke,
I
and you
understood.
didn't you didn't let me
I know.
you didn't let
I know when to fucking not touch
me
the line.
you let me drown.
Yeah, I understand what you were trying to say, but
But,
yeah.
I'm very excited for that movie. I'm very neutral on Carol, but I'm a big fan of Monica and Kamala.
I thought Monica was cool in what was she in? Fuck.
The WandaVision.
There we go. Yeah, WandaVision. She
She
was
was done so dirty. It just no argument will convince me of why she wanted to help Wanda. Wanda just was awful to her. Like, I love the memes where Monica is just, like, talking to Wanda before she leaves, and she's like, "I'm glad I was able to work with you. I hope, I thank you for this opportunity." And then Wanda responds, she's like, "Okay, cool. I'm gonna go kill your mom in an alternate reality." And that's that's really funny to me. Honestly, I will never understand because people are like trying to justify it, like, "Oh, don't you understand? Monica sees like she wasn't able to save her mother, so she's trying to save someone else." I'm just like, that's fucking bullshit. No, there's no reason she should have tried to help. I understand her being a good-hearted person, but through that series, halfway she's just been like, "All right, you need to be put down." Like it just brought me back to the original story of when Scarlet Witches changes all of reality to a mutant-led world. Before that all happens, the Avengers and X-Men have this big conversation, and they're just like, "Oh, we didn't know what to do." And Emma Frost is just like, "Here's what you do: you put it down like a dog." And then everyone's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa!" And Wolverine's just like, "Yeah, she's right." And it's just so funny. Because then, like, once they realize the reality's changed, Emma Frost is just like, "I told you I was right, you dumbasses." She was right. They should've just popped her. But, yeah, it just reminded me of that, like, Monica should have been like, "You know what? No, you need to go down. Like, you're done, Wanda. I am willing to fight every Wanda army stan.
and
The millions that are on the internet.
and
I'm down to fight."
and on to our last topic of speaking of people willing to fight. Let's talk about how Elon Musk is killing Twitter this week.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna make this one quick because we're running short on time. We're actually
Elon.
over.
Oh my
We're
gosh.
actually over an hour.
Oh my god.
Um, so
I can just
it was yesterday.
Mhm,
Yesterday as a recording. So today is the February 18th. So it was February 17th. A new rule was implemented on Twitter saying that
mhm,
if you had two-factor authentication, straight SMS. So essentially, if you logged into Twitter on a different device, you would be sent a text message. I know like there's stuff like this with emails. I have this with a lot of my emails and a lot of like other accounts, which also you should always use two-factor authentication because
mhm.
it's a great way to stop people from hacking into your account. But
I will say that earlier we had this conversation, and I didn't think I do it, but I do know I remember that I do it for my school email and stuff.
yeah, so that's why I was like I had a feeling you probably used it without knowing.
Yeah, but continue.
So yeah, Twitter. It's a basic security feature that works really well. You know, it's as simple as putting a lock on your door. That's gonna help. That's gonna be a big part of your house not getting broken into. Um,
Mhm,
so it's kind of common ground across the board for a lot of for almost everything. And Elon has implemented Twitter Blue. For those who are unaware, Twitter Blue is essentially a paid subscription where you get a lot of features on Twitter. You get
mhm,
longer tweets, yada yada yada. But most notably, you get a blue check mark, like you get like how old school Twitter used to be. You get a verified check mark,
mhm,
and you pay a monthly $8. You pay $8 a month for this feature. And now Twitter is taking away two-factor authentication, SMS, which is like the text, unless
mhm,
you pay for Twitter Blue, which is $8 a month. And a lot of people are just like, "Dude, what the fuck? Like, why do we have to pay $8 a month now for a basic security feature that's like common on everywhere else?" But it's not
mhm,
all loom and doom just yet, because you can use other authentication stuff. So what I use for other stuff, it's called Google Authenticator.
mhm,
Um Essentially, you sync it to your accounts, and they even said they're like, "You can use Google Authenticator on this," and it'll send you a password that resets literally every, like, 15 or 30 seconds. So, if you want to use that, you could use Google Authenticator, but it's just more of a hurdle you gotta jump through now, because I'm like, "Ah, man, like, I gotta download this app, do this and that," but it's really dumb that Elon is paywalling a basic security feature. And, my theory on this is because Twitter's a sinking ship, no matter how popular it is. When he bought it, they were already in the hole a fuck ton of
mhm.
money. That's why they sold it to Elon, because they needed a buyout. And I think he's grasping at straws here to try to get Twitter as to make a profit as quickly as he possibly can. But
Yeah.
that's my quick little rant on how Elon is killing Twitter this week.
Do you the thing is it's not that whether or not Twitter's gonna die because it seems like it was already heading like as you said it was already heading that way. But do you think there's anything you could do to kind of like bring it back, or you think it's like a slow it's on life support. It's slowly
Yeah,
going
I
down.
think that's probably, like, someone with a business degree you might wanna ask on that,
Mhm,
but I think you can turn it around. Like, I think by and large, a lot of people aren't there because, like, it was because of Trump. Trump was saying a bunch of shit, and so, like, fucking, uh, Ford doesn't wanna their tweet right next to, insurrection fucking tweet, They don't want that
mhm.
screenshot, and before that too, it's just like, I think if you do, like, a complete 180 and, build it from the ground up again, you can, but it's I don't know, it just doesn't seem plausible at this point, you know?
I feel like no matter what he does, because he's attached to it, it just can't bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, no matter how you weave this, he brought back fucking Trump, who's a piece of shit. He brought
Mhm,
back Andrew Tate, who's another piece of shit. And I'm just like, why if you were an ad company, why would you want to be associated with an app
mhm,
who like is giving these people a voice, you know?
mhm.
So I just don't think it will. Like, I think eventually it's gonna crash and burn. It's happening. It's happening before our eyes. But it's just a matter of time of when it's gonna die, I feel like.
Yeah.
And then all the film and comic snobs and all that will be gone, and the world will be a better place.
Because the MCU is ending, so
Yes, the MCU is gonna end when Twitter ends, which is probably like
yeah,
next week.
thank God it's fine. Wait, no, the Marvels, Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
3.
Oh, sorry.
I forget, you live in an alternate
Oh my god.
timeline
No,
where
I'm actually excited to see Guardians of the
oh,
Galaxy
yeah,
3.
we didn't talk about
We
the
didn't talk
hold on,
about
I
that at
just I just
all.
wanna say this.
Mhm.
A little ways
Oh yeah,
back
we were supposed to talk about
yeah,
trailers.
I just wanna say this before we end the podcast. A little ways
Mhm.
back, I remember seeing, like, who they casted as Supergirl, and I've been crushing
Uh-huh.
on her for years.
Oh
And
yeah.
but there was never any official trailer or anything. And now that the trailer came out, everyone on the internet is like, "Damn, She's a babe. I'm like, yep. I'm happy everyone else agrees with me now because I've been saying this for a little bit, but no one knew who I was talking about. I didn't even know her name. I was just like, oh, Supergirl. Now it's like it's Sasha something. Eh,
Sasha
yeah,
Cali.
Sasha Cali. That's my future ex-wife.
I respect
Just
that.
because I'll never be able to hold her down. She'll realize that she could do better than me, and by that point, I'll be like, "You're right. I'm just happy at the time we spent together."
You're happy the time you had.
Yeah, I will. I won't. I'll willingly send a paper.
You know what? I will not be watching that movie in theaters, but I will watch it on HBO Max when it drops.
But yeah, I think that's everything we want to talk about. No, what's the homework for the week?
Oh my gosh. Okay. The homework for everyone is to go pre call a comic book shop near you right now and pre-order a physical copy of issue number 1 of Titans, because fun fact, pres- pre-ordering at your comic book shop is the biggest way to let them know that the book is in demand.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, just because like on a consumer front, on like the business side, if you call and tell them to hold that book for you, that's a sign to the industry that you want it.
Okay. And I think my homework for the week for you guys is go
Mhm.
follow Supergirl on Instagram and Twitter. That's it.
All right. Where can where can
Also
people find
also,
you?
go read Radiant Black Volume 1 because I'm
Oh,
hope
I've heard good things about it.
yeah, I have Volume 2, sitting on my
Mhm.
desk, and I'm gonna go pick up Volume 3 later on, but, I'm hoping that that gets picked up into an Amazon show because those are the same people who did Invincible and,
Oh, nice.
Walking Dead, the comics, and
Mhm.
it's fucking good. The Volume 1 is really fucking good. I read it a little ways back, so but
I've
yeah,
heard good things about Radiant Black.
it's really good, it's really but if you wanna find me, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Luis Gutierrez. You can also find my work at ITN.com, where I was working on the Hogwarts Legacy Guide. And you can find me on GameSpot.com, where I was also working on Hogwarts Legacy Guides. But yeah. What about you, Noah? Where can people find you?
Well, if you guys, I am starting to write stuff about comic books and
Ooh,
pop culture. I just released an article the other day about the new 52 Teen
at
Titans, so you can go.
nerdbot.com.
No, you can go to panels and pages.wordpress.com. That's panels and pages .wordpress.com and check out my
Yeah,
writing.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna be
Uh,
linked in our description too.
yeah, if I remember to do that for sure. You can follow me on Noah is a Garcia on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Recently on a TikTok, some women called me baby girl, and I really enjoyed it.
You were baiting
And
for
you can
that. You,
I asked for it and I received it, and I was very happy about it. It was intentional. And you can also find my photography works on Noah Garcia underscore photography on Instagram.
and until then, we will see you all later. Bye
Bye.
bye.